Okay, we're in chapter 28 of Proverbs, verse number 3. 28:3. How's that sound to thee? A ruler who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain that leaves no crops. Here's an easy formula to remember. In today's society, about 33% of the population is poor. This is every country in the world, really. Today's times. About 33% are in the middle, and about 33% are above the middle and then all the way up to the rich people. So what good is a leader if he only, gives favors to the rich people, the top 33%, so to speak? Now, we are the only generation in the last, I'd say 100 years, 100 years. And it's not actually 100 years. We are the only generation, because in every other generation in the history of the world, this is true, you can look it up, only about 5% of the people were rich. And about 95% of the people were just struggling to survive. You literally have no idea how good you have it today. You have no idea how good life is in America today, or even anywhere in the world today. Unless you're in a war zone, that's a different story. But here, if you have a ruler, let me say a little bit more on that. Do you realize, 400 years ago, you couldn't go out, get in your car, drive down Starbucks, get a coffee, go to McDonald's for lunch, and then wonder what you're going to have for dinner, and have a snack in between, then have another snack, then stop off at a movie, have some popcorn and, candy, soda, then drive home. Oh, better pick up some Kentucky Fried Chicken. Turn on your 40-inch plasma screen TV. Play a few video games until your show comes on. You're in a nice house. Your whole life's full of food and groceries. You got electricity. I always laugh when we complain electricity's got up like 2%. Well, if you pay $100 a month, your bill went to $102 a month. You got to stop concentrating on the stupid small things and start looking at, the dam, the big things. The dam is about to break over here in these other areas. We have public schools, public libraries, hospitals that cannot refuse to take you. You ask a doctor, what did sick people do 150 years ago? They said they went home and died. That's what happened. They went home and died. We got all these things in today's society, and you have to work 8 hours a day to get all those things. And what is the rulers of our country trying to do? Joe Biden, Donald Trump, George Bush, President Nixon, Obama, Clinton, they all do it. They all want a piece of the action. Government is always looking to tax you more. You say, oh, not Donald Trump. He's going to have tariffs. He's going to cut our taxes back. Well, you talk to me in 4 years and we'll see what he actually did. The numbers don't add up. You know, inflation has not even yet hit the government jobs. Because the government contracts the jobs to, you know, they go out and work on a bridge for 5 years. It takes a year or 2 years for the price of steel and concrete and everything to double. Government is always behind and always looking for more money. I mean, you like that bridge by your house, right? You like driving on the other side of town. Well, you got to go across the bridge to get there. You couldn't go anywhere in the Oregon coast without a bridge. It's going to be very interesting to watch Donald Trump. My prediction is he'll do worse this time than he did the first time. Because I see the people coming against him. Now, on Tuesday, February 4th, he's supposed to start all the tariffs worldwide. And Canada, China, and Mexico have already implemented tariffs against us now, so the prices of all things you buy are going to start going up. Cars are going to become more expensive. Refrigerators, washers, dryers, water heaters. Automobile parts. None of this stuff is made in America. So you're going to be paying the taxes and the tariff increase in prices for the first year here. I bet that's going to make a lot of you really happy. Oh, that just made me laugh. Oh, my goodness gracious. People ask me, Dave, what do you do to survive? I've cut my going out to eat by 95% now. So you see, I used to have that money going out of my wallet. I used to go out 3 times a week, I don't know, 5 years ago. Then the pandemic, I went out twice a week. I'm talking like McDonald's or something like that. When it was like $8. Now you can't buy the regular double cheeseburger for only, $8. I went to Arby's, not Arby's, Arby's. Wow. I haven't been to Arby's in like 12 years. And the prices were like, holy smokes. They got a triple roast beef, cheddar roast beef in there for like $14. Just the sandwich. I was like, I would just like a glass of water, please. Wow, it was amazing. So how do I find? So then a couple years ago, I just got down to like once a week. Right now, I'm down about once a month. So the economy's losing the money I used to spend because I just won't I won't let it go out of my pocket, see? So they say, so for example, let's say I give like $300 a month to go do stuff. Well, that $300 a month used to allow me all those things 7 years ago. Now that $300 a month only allows me a third of what I used to do. And I suspect in the next 3 years after Donald Trump's done, that $300 a month is going to be cut in half again. But you see, I am not losing out because I never spend more than, for example, the $300 a month. I get to a certain point and I say, nope, that's it. I'm done. And I'm not suffering. The economy suffers. In fact, I'm losing weight right now. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm not starving, believe me. I'm losing a little weight because of it. I'm changing I'm up to like 90% of changed everything I eat. You go here, verse 3, a ruler who oppresses the poor. That's what inflation is. Joe Biden claimed, I'm the president of the poor and the middle class. Inflation destroyed the poor and destroyed the middle class. Inflation made the rich richer. It made the rich richer, and it destroyed the bottom 75%. That's why Donald Trump got elected. Because of inflation. I'm sitting here, I'm watching people live in their vans. They don't even move. They just sit there and don't move. They don't even move a block away once a month now because they're dead, flat, broke. They have nothing to speak of. In the past 5 years in the United States of America, including all 50 states, combined, total, we have spent hundreds of billions of dollars on homeless people in America. We could have bought every single one of them a $50,000 mobile home in a park and just gave it to them, and it would have been half price. Why didn't we do that? Because the division in our country, see, a ruler who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain that leaves no crops. In other words, your oppression of people, the bottom 65%, Joe Biden did it and Donald Trump's doing it. Donald Trump despises poor people. He's said it many, many times. He thinks that every single person should work 60 hours a week and make all their own money, have low taxes, a small government, and no benefits at all. And he believes the old-fashioned way. Now, you got to remember, he's almost 20 years older than me. He's 18 years older than me. And I'm really old. So he believes that families should take care of, the sick, the mentally ill, the homeless, the oppressed. Not government should not be taking care of them. Your family should have to pay for them. We don't live in that world anymore. How do you take care of someone who's mentally ill and on drugs and they want to live on the street? You cannot legally go and force them to come home. You can't legally, by the Constitution of the United States, this is one of the faults of the Constitution, You cannot legally force someone to behave themselves. You want to do drugs, you can do it right now. You want to throw your life away, you can do it right now. You want to go out and get arrested, you can do it right now. You cannot legally force someone to behave. And homelessness is actually a crime, and it's one of those crimes that we don't really do anything about. Kind of like the border. Joe Biden let in, like 18 million non-citizens. Every other country in the world. Canada has border security. Mexico has border security. Russia, every other country in the world has border security. You can't just show up in Australia and say, I think I'll live here. They won't let you. Not unless you're Crocodile Dundee, but I think he's from there. You can't just show up in another country without following their system, their rules. So here, this verse number 3, this explains everything that's going on in today's society. The rulers who oppress the poor are like a driving rain that leaves no crops. Meaning everything they do produces no results. We've been watching this, well, frankly, since George Bush. Bill Clinton got a lot of stuff done. I will say that for him. He was a good old boy that liked the ladies, but he got a lot of stuff done. He was a politician that got tons of stuff done. He would cross the aisle and do things for Democrats and things for Republicans. He didn't care. He just liked getting stuff done. And George Bush, he didn't get that much done. I remember when the Great Recession started, George Bush, you remember he gave everybody a $250 tax credit. 2007 and 8. Hey, sorry you all lost all your money. I'm going to give you a tax credit of $250. Talk about being out of touch. There were people losing their houses. Man, oh man, oh man. And Barack Obama said he was going to do every single thing for black people and change the whole thing. He was going to stop racism. He was going to get black people jobs, everything. That's the only group of people he didn't help. Barack Obama helped a lot of people, but he did not help black people. I don't know why. Everybody talks about it. All the black people talk about how Barack Obama never did anything for them. It was the strangest thing. We had the first black president in the history of the United States, and he didn't do anything to help the black people. I mean, everybody expected him to. Nobody would have faulted him for it. But he said, no, everybody's equal. I'm not going to do special favors for black people. Of course, the black people, every black person voted for him. They were like, you're not going to help us? And Donald Trump spent 4 years calling everyone names. That's why he didn't get elected the second time. And Joe Biden, I think he was just too old. It was a great idea. He was in the last 4 years of his political career. He's been in there 45 years. He was just a little too old. And he had a lot of 30-year-old people around him telling him what was good ideas and stuff. I mean, they had a transgender guy in the White House with a bald head who would steal luggage at the airport. He was on national news for stealing luggage at the airport. And Joe Biden, well, not Joe Biden, but the people around him had Joe Biden promoting this guy. And he was stealing luggage at the airport while working in the White House. Okay, so they got rid of him. And what'd the guy do? He doubled down and went down and stole some more luggage again. Other people's luggage. I mean, talk about the dumbest crime on earth. Why are you in prison? What horrible crime did you do to get, 10 years in prison? Well, I used to work in the White House, but then I started stealing luggage at the airport. Man, oh man, you can't make this stuff up. So here, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. A ruler who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain that leaves no crops. Those who forsake instruction praise the wicked, but those who heed, H-E-E-D, who heed it, resist them. Those who forsake instruction, ignore instruction. They listen to the instructions and they say, when the guy walks away, they say, no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to do it a better way. Those who ignore instruction praise the wicked. They love wickedness. But those who heed instruction resist wickedness. Over the years, my working career, there was always about 10% of the people that would say, how come we're doing it this way? And I say, well, that's just the way the system we all have here. You just started working here like a week ago. Yeah, but I don't like to, I think there's a better way. Why are we doing it like this? Well, how do you think we should do it? Well, I don't know. I just don't like this way. Well, that's the system, and if you want to work here, you have to do it this way. And they say, why? I don't want to. I don't like doing it that way. See, the Bible says these people praise wicked. They love wicked. You only praise what you love. If you love God, you praise God. If you love wickedness, you praise wickedness. Evildoers do not understand what is right, but those who seek the Lord understand it fully. Evildoers do not understand what is right. They don't even know right from wrong. They do the evil and they say to themselves, what I'm doing is right. What I'm doing is correct, is right. They get to the point they can't tell the difference between right and wrong. You look at all these people down here living in these vans and stuff down here. There's a lot of drugs being passed around. I see it all the time. I see people coming up to these vans and putting something in the window and walking away with a bag of drugs, or putting something in their pocket and they walk away. You know, they all get caught eventually. They will always all get caught. There's no getting away from the law long term. You will be caught and you will be put in jail. Verse number 6, better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse. You see, that's proof right there. The Lord doesn't look at your wealth or your money or your checkbook. He looks at, are you blameless, or is your walk on this earth perverse? Meaning perverse against God. Which one? The Lord doesn't say, I favor the rich like the politicians today, and I despise the poor. No. You know, you say whatever you want about Donald Trump. God says, any ruler, any leader throughout all history that oppresses the poor, God himself will come against them. Stop and consider that. The hand of God will come against that person and get rid of them. And what is happening today? We cut the child care tax credit in half. Donald Trump wants to start cutting food stamps back and have a work requirement to receive food stamps. They want to start cutting back and dismantling Obamacare that has like 40 million Americans on Obamacare. He wants to start dismantling that completely. Well, how are we going to get affordable health care? I mean, how are poor people going to get affordable health care? Well, when God sees this, he will come against you. It's in the Bible a dozen times. God says, you oppress the poor, the widow, the orphan. I, the Lord, I am their defender. I will come against you. I will totally come against you, says the Lord. Verse number 7, a discerning son heeds instruction, but a companion of gluttons disgraces his father. That's what the prodigal son was, a companion of gluttons. The prodigal son said, hey, I got my inheritance. Time to start drinking and womanizing. Time to start drinking and womanizing. The prodigal son became a glutton. And he thought he was doing better than his father until he lost all his money. You know, every one of these drug addicts you see on the street, most of them had like $500 a week jobs at one point. If you're young and you're listening to this and you don't believe me, they all had $500, $600, $700, $800 jobs. Some of them were making $1,500 a week. They took drugs, and now they're living in the bushes on food stamps, waiting for their next chance to get high on drugs. The drugs completely destroyed them. So if you become a companion of gluttons, you're not just going to disgrace your father. You're going to destroy your life and become a fool in the eyes of God. Whoever increases wealth by taking interest or profit from the poor amasses that wealth for another person who will be kind to the poor. Ho, 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 ho. So you're sitting out there, rich guy, all rich, fat, and happy, and probably sassy. And you're like, yeah, I got $1 million, or I got $10 million. I personally know someone who has $25 million. I mean, they're okay. They don't really, they're not doing anything profound in life. They're not really helping poor people. They're just kind of living for themselves, their wife and their family, and, they give a little bit to the church. Compared to 25 million, they give like pennies to the church. Whoever increases wealth by taking interest from a loan or profit from the poor. Wow. So the Lord, this is what it says in the Old Testament. You're never supposed to charge interest or make profit on poor people or your fellow brothers or believers. You're not supposed to do it. That's why when they went over to the land of milk and honey, Moses had to remind them, do not be afraid to borrow to each other. God will bless you. Oh yeah, but if I borrow my brother $1,000 and all as I get back is $1,000 and a thank you and a handshake, where's my profit, man? Where's my profits? I want back $1,400. Well, if you do that to the poor or the oppressed or the widow or the orphan, God is watching you, and he takes that ability he gave you to make a lot of money, and he lets you go for 20 more years to make a lot of money, but he does, this is in the Bible. I allow this kind of a person to amass great wealth, but I do not allow them to enjoy it. And then I take their life early and I give their money to someone else who will do with it what I, the Lord, want them to, helping the poor and the widows and the orphans and the sick and the lame. You can have $1 million, but you got, if you want to impress the Lord, give away the other $24 million. And then, oh, you poor person, oh man, you'd suffer so much. You'd only have to live and survive on $1 million. How was that for sarcasm? The guy who has 25 million only wants 40 million. He's like, I'm not successful until I get 40 million. The guy who has $100,000 does not consider himself successful until he gets $250,000. But God goes in reverse. I'm going to end with this verse here. We'll stop right here. Whoever increases wealth by taking interest payments or profits from the poor, you amass that wealth for another person who will be kind to the poor. So God looks at money on earth in the reverse of what you're looking at it. God says, I'm willing to give you a lot of money if you're going to use that money to help the poor in the church, the poor people in your church. You don't even have to go outside of your church, just the poor people in your church. You're going to help the poor people in your church, and the widows and the orphans. then God will increase you more. God does not think like you or I. God thinks, how can I help these poor people today? Hey, I wonder how I can help these poor people today. Who down there at that church has a lot of money I could use to help the poor people? And God goes to the man and says, hey, Bob, you got $25 million. I want you to start a fund at the church with $1 million and put the preacher in charge of it to help all the poor people in the church. And then I will bless you. And Bob says, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not going to give away $1 million. Are you crazy? I'm not going to entrust $1 million with those people. So when's the last time? Now, if you disagree what I say about what I say about politicians here, I'll say it this way, and then I'm going to end this Bible study. When's the last time you heard any leader, congressman, or president of the United States say, if you elect me, I'll do everything I can to help the poor people? The widows, the orphans, the sick, those in the hospitals, that'll be my mission. To help poor people, widows, orphans, people in sick people in hospitals who can't pay their bills. That'll be my mission as President of the United States, as Congressman. And by the way, I'm a Christian, and I'm doing this to glorify God's name on behalf of Jesus Christ. When's the last time you heard any politician say anything close to that? Well, you know what the answer to that is, don't you? You've never heard a politician say anything like that. How about the governor of your state? When's the last time you heard the governor of your own state say, I'm a Christian, I'm here for Jesus, and I'm going to help the poor, the widows, the orphans, and the oppressed, and the sick people down at the hospital? Because that'll please God. You don't hear it. And you never will until the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ.